Abraham, guest speaker of today's topic, who is a renowned expert in this area. I also welcome our energetic secretary, Mr. A. Sunil Kumar, and MC member, Mr. R. Sri Kumar. I welcome one and all who are attending this webinar. Thank you. Yes. Is it okay?
Thank you, Mr. Jayachandran. So, Sunil, shall I go ahead?
Yes, sir. Okay, please.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Trivandrum Management Association and our president, Mr. Rajesh Jha, it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to this webinar. I think the past 10 months, ever since we have been victims of an unprecedented pandemic, if it has shown anything, it is that people are even more important than we thought. I think businesses sometimes tend to forget the value of people and individuals. We tend to set too much store by management techniques, tools, and all the management buzzwords. So we know for a fact that there has been so much emphasis on financial wizardry. We know that sometimes we have lost sight of the substance and gone more for form. So I think in a sense, the pandemic has had one good side effect in making us again conscious of the fact that business is actually all about people. Frankly, I have not come across this new concept, player mindset, and I'm looking forward to being educated on it. But from the little that I have understood about it on a quick reading, it seems to me that you have a choice. You can either play victim or you can take responsibility for your life. So this is not just a good management tool, but I think this is an extremely good practice to have even in one's personal life. We are fortunate to have an expert with us who will deliver this talk. I'm sure all of you are as keen on hearing from him as I am. And without further ado, let me welcome him to make his talk. I'm sure that this is going to be beneficial for all of us. Thank you.
Rajesh sir, we can start the program.
Thank you, Padma Kumar. Thank you, Padma Kumar, sir. It is very encouraging for us to hear the words of encouragement from our Honorable Vice President, Senior Vice President. Now I want to give a brief introduction about our speaker today, Mr. Ajit Chako Abraham. Mr. Ajit Chako Abraham is a professional, management professional with more than 20 years of experience in consumer, pharma, surgical sales management industry. He is having experience in the areas of marketing as well as training, and his experience range from leading the team of as a regional training manager for Novartis, one of the largest pharmaceutical company, and then he is also having a stint of entrepreneurship as the director of ACE Healthcare Private Limited. He is the founder of the startup pharmaceutical company with almost 24 employees. His company is currently operational in 8 states in the north and southern part of the country. He started his career with Allergan India Limited and GSK, which is a renowned name in pharma industry. He then, as I earlier said, he worked with Novartis also. Coming to his in pharmacy from University College, Kakatia. He is also MBA degree. He also has an MBA degree, master's degree in management from our own trustee. With this brief introduction, I am now handing over the forum to our speaker, our honorable speaker today. I am also, as Padmakumar said, sir, I am also very curious to learn from him or understand from him the new concept of the play.
Thank you, Sunil, for that wonderful introduction, and thank you, Mr. Jayachandran and Mr. Padmakumar, for. So I think from whatever I listened, so you people have better understanding the concept of the player and victim mindset. So let me. Can I share my screen so that? So first of all, once again, good evening to all of you. It is my, it gives me immense pleasure to be part of such a prestigious organization. And, you know, before, as many of you have told in the introduction, this is going to be, you know, it's not about a management concept or something. It is more to do with our personal thing. So, and as we are all adults, I don't think anybody can teach or anything. So I just want you to throw some light, some thinking around this victim and this player mindset. So you are feel free to add anything which you think it makes relevant, so that we all can learn and take home some small message which can be of some use for our day-to-day life. So everybody will be knowing this particular person called Andre Agassi. I don't know how many of you will be knowing also his story about some interesting facts of this Agassi. He is a tennis player. So some personal story of his is that he was balding at the age of 20 years, but he had developed his bald hair from 20 years. So whatever the hair you see is an artificial hair he is kept. So at the age of 20 years, if somebody who is world famous or he started this career, so the look is also very important for such kind of a personality. So the moment that this bald head started coming to his head, he was approached. So his advisor was his elder brother, Philippi. So he approached Philippi and he told that I am concerned and I'm embarrassed that at such young age, if I have bald head, it doesn't look good. So immediately this brother, Philly, has come out with a solution. He said, we will fix it, because there is now a lot of hair fixing things are available. So why don't you choose whichever is fitting to you or looking good for your personality. So they have selected some nice model and they fixed a wig for Agassi. So even though his career was not doing very well in the initial stage, but Agassi was struggling hard to come back to his professional life, and he worked very hard, and he put a lot of extra hours to become master, and he was into a finals of Grand Slam. So he is about to make it, and the whole world also expect him to be the champion for that particular year. And he was supposed to fight against a very old, aging, or a verge of retiring guy called Gomez. So that particular night before the match, something unusual happened. He was taking bath and suddenly his wig got spoiled. This is a night, next day morning, 10 o'clock, he is having a match, and night around 9 o'clock, his wig got a problem, big problem. So he don't know how to handle it. So immediately, as usual, he called his brother. Philly has come in to help him. So that particular night, since their replacement is difficult because it's all customized wig, so they have tried fixing it and they have somehow managed to fix it in the night. But only Philly told one word, brother, you have to be a little bit careful, because if you put too much of pressure, you might, spoil this particular wig. So the next day match was happening, the final. He was not able to concentrate on the match. The whole night he was thinking, and even the morning he was thinking about what happens if my wig gets spoiled, and the whole world will know that I'm a bald-headed guy. So ultimately what happened in that particular match, he lost to Gomez, who was in the verge of retirement. The whole thing was that he was one way he was happy. One way he was happy that this wig has not fallen. But the last many years, he was working very hard in terms of playing and getting this Grand Slam. At the end of the day, what happens is, just for the smaller wig fixing, he lost the game, which was almost certain that he will be, winning against Gomez. So we all will have our own wigs in our life. It could be anything. So after this match gets over and he lost the match, he started realizing the mistake, and then he started removing his wig, artificial wig, and he started playing with his bald head. And he's won many Grand Slam post to that. So why I shared this particular story, because we all have our own wigs to save and the matches to play. We might get consumed of small but unimportant things, end up losing the bigger things in life. So before starting the session, I just want you to remember this particular story and visualize what would have happened during this particular match, his effort. So identify your wigs and what your matches are, and make sure that your priorities are in place. What is your immediate priority? So as someone was mentioning, as Mr. Padma Kumar and Jayachandran was mentioning, success through a player mindset. What does it mean? Before we get into the crux of this particular topic, I just wanted to ask one question. Who is the most important person in this room? Or when we say that in the virtual platform, what we think about this particular situation? Who is the most important person who is attending this particular program? Since I am not getting any response, I will only answer the question. That's a limitation of this particular platform as well. It's all about you or me. When we talk about us, it is about us. And we think that the sun and the world revolve around us. The most important person, irrespective of whoever, whether it is our family or our professional or anything, the most important person who in our life will be us. So I just want you to watch it.
Hey, come here.
Hope you are all able to see this the video. So I want you to visualize during this presentation what has happened in this particular. Mostly everybody would have seen this various version. It has come in multiple languages. So though I put the Hindi version of it. So in this particular situation, there is a clear victimhood and the approach how he has managed to. He had lot of, with his authority, he had a lot of opportunity to overpower him and just make him listen to this particular situation. But how he managed a small-time employee, maybe at a different rank, and make him into a different league in terms of his attitude and other things. So you can visualize the situation, in this particular movie clip which we have just seen there. So now the question is that whenever an apple fall. So what could be the reason for this? Is it gravity or I have let it go? There are two truths to it. I have an apple with me. I was holding it, and I have whenever it fallen, there are two truths to it. One is either it could be because you can technically explain that it has happened because of the gravitational force, which you are correct. And the second part is probably I would have let it go. Both the versions are fine. And many of us are all professionals in this. And many times we are late to meeting. Normally we blame the traffic. What happened? Why are you late to the meeting? We immediately blame the circumstances, saying that traffic, or could be the reason I have overslept. So what is victim and player? I just wanted you to visualize a some of the common things which happens in our own life. Probably you would have witnessed this. A small baby at your home spilling the milk where he was traveling, he was walking carelessly, or whatever be the reason. What will be the immediate response? He will immediately say, it spilled. We all tune to say without any subject. We don't take the responsibility for the milk getting spilled over it. We keep saying that it spilled. Look at another situation. A small baby spoiled his toy. Ask him who broke it. The immediate response would, it broke. He would not take the responsibility. He'll say that it suddenly broke. No, it broke. That would be the immediate response, which normally happens with this kind of a situation. And this is a very often things which what we see in our family. Siblings fight. And whenever we question it, the answer normally we get, she stabbed it. So I am not responsible. Somebody else started this thing. So here, if you can see a pattern, there is a victim mindset, there is a player mindset. If somebody I am in charge of me, if that kind of an attitude, I just want you to visualize this particular situation. One is that you blame the circumstances. The other option is to take the charge, and I'm saying that I am in charge of me. So two situations are evolving around. And it very happens. And another thing is about, look at this particular picture. One, we have seen different patterns evolving in our behavior. The other thing is that it's about different perceptions we create or carry in our life. So if you look at this picture, and if I ask, if I would have been in a meeting where all of you could have participated in the program, you will say whatever it comes to your mind. Probably if you see the picture, if I paint it, this would have been the picture. So before this color coming into that, any definition would have been possible. And it is your own opinion. And as on a lighter side, we say that opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. So everybody has their opinion for everything in life. Similarly, this is a blind experiment which is very common. And we keep saying this in our management or in our classrooms. It's about blind people explaining elephant by touching different parts. They have their own version or their own interpretation of it. How they experience, they will just tell. It may be a truth for them, but it not be the ultimate truth what they see in reality. So the pattern coming here is, being an elephant we are seeing here, but people will perceive whatever they experienced, whatever part they are. If you are on a balcony, you will start seeing there is a concept called dance floor and balcony, and something very similar. If you are on a dance floor and everybody is dancing and the light is there, and you think that everybody is dancing, But if you go to the first floor of the dancing, then you will start seeing someone will be chatting on the side, someone will be playing around, someone will be doing so many things in this particular thing. Very few people are participating in this particular thing. So if you really wanted to have a wholesome view, then we may have to withdraw from the scene and start seeing from a wholesome perspective. That will relieve you a lot of things. You don't get attached to a particular thing. I also wanted to tell you a story about this particular ad. This is a very popular ad we keep seeing in our TV whenever we see any programs. So in 1993, there was one lady called Rohini was joined as a marketing manager for the personal hygiene department of this particular company. And that is a time where slowly this napkins are getting introduced to Indian market. And everybody was struggling to sell this particular product. So this lady who was joined in this particular company were asked, why don't you just keep going to a different part of the country and check what is happening, why people are not buying this particular product. So she went around and she said that the first is its cost is very high. Second thing is that people are used to some old clothes or whatever traditional method. So she happened to be in Chennai and she was standing in front of a small kirana shop where she was watching a lady of 30-35 years old, a lower middle class lady. She purchased everything on an average cost, but she has also picked up a costly napkin or this pad for the. So it was quite surprising for her. So she asked a question to this after being friendly with this lady. She asked a question: why are you purchasing this particular thing? Well, you are purchasing rest of the things are all cheaper or in the middle priced material. Why are you purchasing one box of this pad which is very costly? So and she also, can I come and see your house? So this Rohini made make friendship with this lady, this middle-aged lady, and they both went to her house. And the house was a very small setup, one bedroom house with hardly anything in this. And but only thing she was noticing that is neat table and with some books are kept there. Then she said that this I purchased for my daughter because she is studying in 9th standard and I don't want to trouble her in anything. So I want her to concentrate on this. That is the reason which I invested in this particular thing. And she asked, what is about your story? I got married at the age of 16. And I don't want that same thing to be happening to my daughter. So what happened here is she got a clue. Here, this lady was not ready to be a victim. This middle-aged lady doesn't want to play a victim card, blaming the situation. And that's how they also got a clue how they have to market this particular product. And this campaign came into shape because of that particular incident. So now coming to hope you are able to visualize yourself in one of this situation, because every time we cannot be a victim, every time we cannot be a player. But how do we differentiate between a victim versus player? And I want you to go remember all the some of the videos at least, or some of the examples which I have mentioned just now, or something which is happening in your own life. So whenever there is a victim happen, so we call it as a victim or somebody who was suffered because of some incident. The first question, assuming a good friend of this victim will ask, what happened to you? So the victim will be able to explain, you know what happened, this incident has happened because of this particular problem. He has told everything bad about me. All these things he keep explaining. So what is happening here by this, by asking this particular question to a victim? You are making further this particular person a victim. You are empowering the victimhood to a highest level by asking a question about what happened to you. So which means that somebody has done something to you, not that you have done something wrong, somebody has done something to you. Second question, who normally people will ask, who wronged you? Who has done something wrong to you? And what they could have done. So all these questions, if you look at it and look at it in a deeper way, you can find these questions will help you to become a further a victim in or an incident whichever happens to your life. And if you look at it, the victim normal statement, normally they say, nothing I can do. What will I do? I cannot do anything. The situation has reached a particular level. The problem here is the power shifted to an external atmosphere and become powerless. You have given the power to somebody else to play in your own life. So that is something called the first mentality of victim. Here the question, whatever happens to you, you make a statement that I cannot do anything. What can I do? The people are doing bad to you. The circumstances are a situation. The COVID is becoming a big problem for me. What will I do in this particular situation? Another important aspect of victim, his mood will be like a righteous indignation, which means that he doesn't, he always respond to the situation in a very different way. He says that, okay, I am a victim to whatever happened to my life. So he give a sober mood in his talk, in his attire, in his body language. And the most important thing, this victim would rather avoid responsibility. If I divide this into it, we can say that responsibility he avoids or he will not keep up. So the victim mentality is always to keep a mindset of putting the blame on somebody else of whatever happens to your life. So I would tell my own story. When I was in Glaxo, I was a sales representative when I started my career. And normally we will have a sales meeting every month then. And all our sales representatives will gather and we'll talk ill about the manager, immediate boss. He'll say that boss is like this, that is this thing. So we used to get a allowance of, a second AC allowance when to travel this particular, and we normally claim, we travel in a normal class and we claim that amount and we go to a particular pub or someplace. We have our drinks and then we start blaming the manager like anything throughout the night. Up to late night, maybe around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And then early morning, we have to wear a tie and come for the meeting. 8 o'clock, we have to be ready for the meeting. Once we come back to the 8 o'clock, once again, we'll start good morning, good afternoon with the managers. But throughout the night, we play a victimhood. And we keep blaming the circumstances. We keep blaming the bosses for whatever happens in our own personal life, our own professional life. So this is the real mentality of a victim, which we always put the blame on the circumstances, not taking charge of the situation. Let's see what is happening with the player. We have seen a set of questions which is asked to a victim, which further making him a victim. The second set of question is to a player, what challenges are you facing? Now the ring back is coming back to you. Nobody else is party to that. What challenges are you facing? What is the challenge which you are facing in your life? You have to respond to that situation. This is the particular situation. This is the context which I am talking. These are the challenges which I am facing in this particular situation. And the second question, if you are really a player, you could ask is, how did you contribute to create the situation? What is your contribution to create this particular situation? And have you contributed by acting or not acting to a particular thing? And could you have responded differently for a particular situation happening in your life? And can you do something now at least? So look at this type of questions which a player himself will ask. It's all about them. It's not about somebody else. We are taking the complete challenge, complete responsibility is lying on me, because I cannot control what happens in the ground. I cannot control the COVID situation. I cannot control the weather. I cannot control the traffic. I cannot control so many things in life, but I can choose to respond the way which I like. But for that, I need to ask empowering questions. How did you contribute to the situation? How did you part of this situation? What you can do right now? If these kind of questions being asked to this a particular individual, maybe in your team player or yourself, then you will get a better answer and better clarity in this particular situation. And coming to this, the traditional, there is something called serendipity mindset, which is a traditional attitude. We all look forward for life, stability and predictability. And older days, it was like that only. You have to make multiple models and say that, okay, in 2025 will be like this, how much sale you will be doing. All these things we keep calculating, and we all like, especially a typical government and the setup. Other than this new generation, everybody wants stability in their scenario. They want predictability in the scenario. But the reality is today is nothing is predictable. Overnight, people are becoming irrelevant. Situations like earlier, taxi was a good business, but people who are just come with a platform like Uber, they are becoming the biggest taxi owner in the world without owning a single taxi. They have changed the rules of the game, and the player becoming irrelevant in the market. So how do we change from a traditional attitude to a creative minority? When we say creative minority, is something called embracing the unexpected. You are ready to embrace the situation as it is. You are ready to respond to the situation as it evolves. And the most important thing is also adaptability. People keep talking a lot about earlier IQ in our olden days, and that's how that topper in the college will become the default choice of any institution, any kind of job opportunity. Later, somebody has coined a term called emotional intelligence, which later everybody was talking. And then there is something called spiritual quotient. But something is also now evolving is the adaptability quotient. How you are able to adapt to the situation. One simple example, as I mentioned in this, is by Dr. Spencer. He was working in 3M, and they were building and everybody knows the story. I'm not explaining it in detail, but he was making a gum which was for to stick something very seriously. But when they developed this product, they found that it is just easily coming out. And he has not given up. He made a new concept called Post-it, and the rest is history. So it was intended for something else, but the outcome, they have responded by developing what this particular product can be suitable in the particular market. And that's how they adapted it, and then they were able to be successful, even though it was not. So this smartness is something which we would be requiring, and that this creativity will be upheld only with the minority of this group. And can we become part of this creative minority? So the reality is something like a most scary sentence. I am 100% responsible for my life and the results. So this also leaves with us no choice, that I have no more excuses. So you cannot blame anybody else for whatever happens to your life. You are 100% responsible. So So it is very easy, to say all these things. How does it looks like practicing it? Let us see one video, especially in light of COVID. Take it in the lighter spirit. So I just wanted to show you this particular video, and let's see this.
Start working on not touching your face, because one main way viruses spread is when you touch your own mouth, nose, or eyes. And of course, enhance cleaning of surfaces.
Well, we're always saying the common sense of washing your hands, not touching your face.
We're looking at every way individuals come into the country, not just through the.
Right.
But one of the key parts to preventing transmission is washing your hands and not touching your face. You know, there's a lot of folks that are trying to ask themselves, do I need a mask?
I think it's a very important thing. Working hard, not to touch your face.
That everyone would have to fill out that would go directly to CDC with that information.
I've been looking around the room here. I can't tell you the number of you who've put your hands to your face in the last 20 minutes or half an hour.
I want to know how many of them are from.
Hear some of the things about washing your hands and not touching your mouth and your nose and your eyes.
Can you tell me why it took 5 days to test the patient in Manchester?
The value of hand washing and using sanitizing gels to, if you get the virus on your hands, eliminate it before it finds a way. Don't touch your face. My kids are so sick and tired of me saying if they scratch their face, don't touch your face. That's how viruses get.
So you can see that, these are all not people of ordinary stature. They are people from WHO. They are people from various people who are sitting in authority. And they are preaching that, you should do like this. And in minutes later, in this video itself, they are catching how they are practicing what we are saying. So it's all good to reflect on what is good and how we should not be a victim, how we should be a player. So the most important thing is that there is a study which says that it takes average 66 days for a new behavior to become an automatic. So how we can create or how we can make ourselves from a victim to a player. Like in a football match, if Pele or the new generation, if Messi or somebody keeps saying that, how can I play? There are 11 people on the opposite side. And on top of that, there is a small goal post and then there's a goalkeeper. So this can be a victim mindhood. And the player mindset could be, he enjoys maneuvering the ball in between and he put a goal in the goal front. So that can be only achieved by practicing. And the only single most thing you can do is self-reflection or self-awareness. It is very easy to tell, and it is very easy to tell that, no, I'll never be a victim. In your own walk of life, you keep reflecting on something in your own life, you can easily find out you are victim to many of the things on a daily basis. And then as somebody says that, it takes some time, and I am not going into the details of it because all are learned people. But the first stage people say is unconscious incompetency, which means that we don't know that I don't know something. And which leads to the next level. If I put it with a cycling exercise, I don't know that I don't know. I know that I don't know about something, which for example, if I put a cycle example, I know that I don't know how to drive a cycle. That is the conscious incompetency. Most of us are in that level. And there is a level which we can say conscious competency. Conscious competency is nothing but I am learning the process. I know how to ride a cycle. I know how to do a thing. When somebody comes, I'll apply brake. Some speed breaker comes, I apply brake. All these things I know if I drive a car, cycle or a bike or even car. The last stage is called unconscious incompetency, which means that it becomes part of your life. If you are well versed in driving in a car, you keep talking, but you still drive the car because it is already part of your personality. So if you really wanted to become a player, the default nature, all of us, because from the childhood, the personality is developed in such a way that we always like to play a victimhood. How we can become a player? is something which you need to take a conscious effort to increase your awareness and then practice around it. Then only you will be able to become a real player and you can develop a player mindset. It needs little effort, and just knowledge alone will not help. So as a saying that what you practice today, you will be good at it. Whatever you practice a particular attitude, you will become good at it. You practice a way of doing things in a particular way, you will be good at it. It's all about the effort which we put in making yourself to a victimhood or to a player mindset. How we take the situation into consideration. And in one of the important aspect, this victims play is they are not able to influence a particular person. I am not able to impress a particular person. I am not able to do a good conversation with a particular person. They always play the victimhood. So which are the few aspects which you can build in terms of building some influence with your people whom you deal with? And the first and primary thing is an active listening. And here I just wanted to tell you one small story. One guy is fell in love with one girl, and her father was a ex-army person. So he went to, first time is with a lot of difficulty. He knows that how to convince his would-be father-in-law. So he visited the house for a dinner. And the father-in-law, as you know, from ex-military means he will be keeping his face a serious note. And this guy went inside. He started talking to them. And being a clever guy, he asked a few questions to this father-in-law, would-be father-in-law. He asked, when did you started your career, sir? He said, blah, blah, blah. I started in 61, 71, all these things. So up to 71 he has come. Then he started asking a question of 71. So post 71, after your retirement or this particular thing, what did you do? So to make the story short, throughout the night, the dinner when they had together, he would have spoken hardly 2 or 3 sentences, but he kept asking good questions to this particular father-in-law. And when the meeting got over, or when the dinner got over, when he was about to leave, the would-be father-in-law hugged him and he said, we spoke a lot. So who has spoken there? Whether the 95, if I put it as 100%, 95% of the time, his father-in-law would have spoken. The other person would have just be a listener, but his they got excellent rapport between these two people. So you need not to be playing every time so much of an effort. You just need other person to become a little bit more, if you can give an active listening to a particular person, then you can turn yourself from a victimhood, you can become a player, where you can develop your listening. And then there is also a saying that rapport by style. I'm not taking too much details about it. It's, if suppose you wanted to connect with your own child or a small child, when you go to a relative house, you cannot maintain your personality as it is. You have to go to the level of the child. And maybe you will say blah, 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 cha, 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 chi, 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 whatever it says, you will start connecting with that particular. So this is a rapport by style. You have to mirror whatever is the other person coming to. So then you don't have to play a victim card. You cannot say that the kid is not talking to me. This particular individual is not connecting with me. And he is having this reason not connecting with me. It is because probably you'll have to reflect on what style I'm adopting when I'm getting connected to a particular person. And building trust. Trust is a very broad term. I'm not getting into the details of it, but just once again, an example. 2 friends are there and one person wanted to purchase a computer and he has done a lot of experiment. He researched and to find out which is the best computer in the world. And after doing all the experiment, he decided to buy a Dell computer. He was about to get into the shop. Then he sees his close friend. This friend, he asked, where are you going? I wanted to buy a computer. Which computer you are buying? Dell. Immediately his friend says, who will buy Dell? I am using Lenovo for a long time. I have nothing to do with Lenovo or Dell. I'm just telling an example. So he says that I am using for last 10 years. There's nothing wrong. Why are you spending so much money in particular computer? Why don't you use this particular computer? Immediately, the last 2 months of research has completely gone to waste. And he has chosen a brand called Lenovo. What has happened here? He is not a professional about computer by nature, he knows heart. So we trust either by the person or we trust by the degree or whatever it is. So there is no point in playing victimhood when we are developing influence with a particular person. Why I am telling this example is the onus is on us. It's all about me. How I wanted to play a role of whether it is a victimhood or whether I wanted to play a role of playerhood. We cannot blame anybody for this particular matter. And last couple of minutes more, as I started with adaptability quotient, I said that this is the talk of the town nowadays. I just wanted to put an example of somebody is coming for an interview in your own organization. And the normal pattern is what? We look at his CV, how much he has done, what are his contribution, what he has done in the past. But today, if you really wanted to see the adaptability quotient, the learning agility, you will ask questions like, what if? What if tomorrow every shop will get closed? What will you do? So that opens up the possibility of his adaptability to a particular situation. Rather than going and on his lineage, definitely it gives you a reference when you get an older, what he has done in his past, it always be a good reference. But that doesn't guarantee what is going to happen in the future. Because he can always play a victimhood. This circumstance has changed. Situation has changed. That's why I'm not able to perform. But if you ask a what if question to whatever you do, if tomorrow Corona continues or some other disease comes, how do you respond to the situation? And we look for people for signs of unlearning. People who have learned, they think that I am expert and I will do only things in this way. The whole world has to change for myself. So we look forward for the signs of unlearning. How much more than the learning agility, how he will be able to forget and erase what is there in his mind and learn new things. The third point is exploration. We say another term called exploitation. What is available in the market, we try to exploit a share from that. We try to use the same skill. But exploration means you are going beyond the possibilities of today. You are looking the solution part, not the problematic. You are becoming part of the solution rather than you becoming part of the problem. So a player mindset always look forward for adaptability and keep asking this question to ourselves. How much if situation tomorrow changes? Are we play a victimhood or are we a player? Are we maneuvering our skill, smartness, and are you willing to unlearn and learn new things? And are we in a position to explore situation rather than being victimized in the present or in the past? And I just wanted to ask, probably it appears to be a little irrelevant, but I want you to think through this particular question. What were the 2 things you have done which you are very proud during this particular time, the last 8 months or 1 year or whatever? And that gives you a lot of answer to the topic which we have discussed. And keep asking one more question. When was the last time you were in a conversation with someone and they said, oh, that's really interesting? And keep asking yourself, if I have one life and I have only this much time period, 24 hours in a day, which is equal to everyone, and what is that one idea I love to implement or I love to do in my life? And these things will take you from a victimhood to a player mindset. So I know nothing major things can happen by just being a monologue, mostly especially when this kind of a virtual platform, until unless it is becoming interesting, people will not be able to understand, or people will be able to follow whatever we are discussing. So I don't know how much justice I have done. One thing I'll tell you with a very jovial note, my mother keep attending this every Sunday, some programs where their father come and give a lot of speeches. So sometimes she take a lot of effort and go in the evening also to attend the speech. And I ask, whenever she come back, I ask, what is that? How was it, the speech, first of all? Then she says it was very interesting. Today's speaker was very good. Or sometimes she said it was very bad. And I will ask another question to her, what did he say today? Then she will scold me. Don't ask such questions. So why I am ending this, with this particular thought. From moving from victim to player, the first thing, you have to take the responsibility. Nobody else can help you. So for that, the biggest thing which you need to do is the self-awareness of it. If I know consciously that I am a victim, then I can at least take an attempt. Forget about whether I'll change or not, but I can take an attempt. And the second important thing you can contribute is, don't further suck the energy of a victim. Sometimes you can be very friendly to a victim by asking, oh, this lady has done this bad thing to you. Oh, this person has done bad thing to you. So you are further victimizing him. Rather, you keep asking a question, what is your contribution of the situation which you have created? And what you can do right now to change the situation? What you could have done something different? So these questions in our mind can always twist from a victim, and you are helping or aiding a person to become a player rather than just continue to be a victim. And after all, our lives are very limited, hardly 25,000-30,000 days. So why are we playing a victimhood? Let's look at making ourselves more like a player and enjoy this small journey called life. And once again, I thank you so much on the TMA for, I am very fortunate to be part of this this program. And I know I'm talking to all learned and august audience on the other side, even though I could not see everyone, but some of the faces I could make out. And, some are having more gray hair than me. So I am sure that, many of your experience is much higher than mine. So hopefully this evening, you could pick up 1 or 2 points, which is worth this thing. The last I wanted to share, people will forget what you said and people will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you make them feel. So let us have an enjoyable life and have a great evening ahead. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Mr. Rajiv Abraham. Now the forum is for raising questions and having a discussion. We have some 5 more minutes left. So if anybody, I think Padma Kumar sir is having a question. Padma Kumar sir, can you put your question, sir?
Thank you. I'd actually put it on the chat box.
Oh, sorry. Sir, can you repeat it?
Yeah, the question.
I will read it out.
Okay, thank
you. Question from Padma Kumar sir is that, how does one move from a victim to player mindset? Do you have any concrete steps to suggest?
Yeah, so so I try to attempt that question. The first and foremost thing, if you really somebody wanted to change from a victim mindset to a player mindset, is first he should have a identification that he is playing a victimhood. Many times we play victimhood and we think that we are the strongest player in the team. We think that we are playing a player, this thing. So the first and foremost thing is the awareness that, or the identification that, how am I a victim or I am a player in this particular thing? And how do we identify ourselves as a victim or a player? You always, in English, the term is called devil's advocate. You should always have somebody around you who could be able to have a close relationship with you, and they will be able to challenge you, because this is not a good situation. Suppose that the person asks you that what you have done is a victimhood, what you have done is wrong. You could have you have started blaming the situation that is wrong. Then you are tend to become his enemy. So always having a small set of devil's advocates around you, which will pinpoint, at least they will tell that, okay, what you are doing is a victimhood, and that realization will make you that will be the first stepping stone from here to, or a self-reflection of yourself. Every day when you want, after the incident, you had a fight with a particular person, you had a problem happen to your life, can you start resequencing it, just like a framing? What started the incident? What was the conversation I had, and how did it end? So that reflection also could help you to, identify this victimhood. So the first and foremost thing, once again, I would repeat, is the awareness, and that awareness can come from yourself or even from somebody else around you.
Thank you, Ajay Abraham. We have one question from our senior member, Mr. Sethu Madhavan. Sethu Madhavan sir's question is that how can you explain the memorability, the importance of memorability in developing influence?
Yeah. So good, sir. Thank you so much for even if you missed one pie of it, you have noticed that. Thank you so much. We always respect for that. So memorability is creating. So suppose you have met a person. In psychology, they said 7 seconds to 8 seconds, you always create some impression. Whether it is right or wrong, you create an impression about a particular person. So if you keep creating good memorability, suppose whenever you have a friend XYZ, and whenever you meet him, if you give him good experience, if they always have a good experience from your side, whenever they remember about you, or whenever they see you, they will always have that positivity in their mind. For example, in our own house, if you imagine different type of relatives, some relatives coming to our house, we feel very happy about it. Some relatives coming to our house, oh, today also this guy had come to spoil, or this lady has come to spoil our mood. How did it create? Whatever is the memorability they have created in our mind, what was your investment? And it is like a balance. If you invest more into positive memorability, positive image about yourself to another person, whenever he thinks about you, there will be some kind of a blessing or some kind of a positivity comes to your mind. And that is deadly against the victimhood.
Thank you. Thank you. Very well explained. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you, Ajay. We have one more question. I think we have some more time.
Hello.
Can you explain the unlearning process?
Yeah. Yeah. So, any new skill, for example, what I mean by unlearning process is that probably we do a particular things in our life in a particular manner. For example, I wanted to travel to from Trivandrum to Cochin. I always take take a car or a bus only, and I always believe that road transport is the safest one. Or I say that, okay, this is the way I can reach a particular level. This is the way I do things. This particular institute, this particular hospital, this particular company, we have done always things like this. You have to follow the 1, 2, 3, step 4. And today the situation has changed. Today you have a better way of connecting with to Trivandrum to Cochin. You can even reach a faster train, 2.5 hours, 3 hours you can reach. So first thing you have to do is that you have to unlearn. You have to remove the learning, whatever you have done in the previous way. You have to forget, or you have to take a conscious effort to remove that from your daily habits. And then once you are free from that, your mind is free. It's like a clean slate. Once something is there in the board, and if you wanted to write on the top of it, it is very difficult. Use a duster or something, remove it, then keep adding it. Then that will be permanently. This is the way, new way of doing things. This is the way this is a new way of doing things. I am unlearning the previous one. I am learning the new way. So, so many of these people, the elderly management people I keep seeing, they always spend time with the youngsters, Generation X, Generation Y, those who are born in the internet age and all. I keep seeing even in my career, if you look at earlier people like my seniors and all, they have a high level of sense of loyalty. They look for predictability. Today, if you look at the youngsters, the work they will do, and if you are becoming little too much to them, they leave, and they will sometimes take 3 months of off. They go for a ride. They go for learning something. So you have to see how the situations are. You cannot have a fixed mindset. You have to remove that whatever you have learned throughout your life, and then adapt to the new learning. So that is about unlearning. It can be anything.
Thank you,
Hope
Mr.
I have
Raji.
not confused it further.
Hello.
Thank you, Mr. Raji. It was very clear, and it was very clear. And now I invite Jayachandran sir. Can I invite our honorable MC member CA Sri Kumar for vote of thanks program as per the program?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
please.
Yeah.
Yes, Sri Kumar sir, can you have the please have the vote of thanks on behalf of TM?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Please.
Good evening, everyone. I am Sri Kumar, Managing Committee member of TMA, and I am here to present the vote of thanks for today's webinar. I would like to thank our guest webinar speaker, Mr. Raji Chacko Abraham, Director, ACE Healthcare Private Limited, Bangalore, for joining us in the August evening and enlightening us with his knowledge for setting up our mind towards success. Definitely, this is a relevant subject in the post-pandemic tough time. Today's webinar was full of knowledge and interesting things, video clippings, PowerPoint presentation slides, etc. Today's webinar was full of knowledge and interesting things. It gave up insights into the topic and so revealed some interesting facts also to us. The point where Mr. Raji Chacko Abraham told us about having the optimistic mindset increases the likelihood of formulating the winning perspective and achieving long-term success. Also, living reality instead of blaming others. I am pretty sure the precious knowledge of Mr. Raji Chacko Abraham gave us will definitely help in succeeding in managing toughest time ahead and build up good relationships. Once again, I would like to thank Mr. Raji Chacko Abraham for taking out time from his busy schedule and enlightening us with his knowledge. Thank you so much. I would also like to thank our chairperson, lecture program committee, Mr. C.K. Jayachandran, Mr. C. Padma Kumar, Vice President TMA, and Mr. Sunil Kumar, Secretary TMA, for their pain and efforts to conduct the program in a befitting manner. Finally, thank you all the participants of today's webinar for paying their attention, positive interactions, and patient learning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you all. Thank you on behalf of TMA. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Raji.
Thank you.